Hi, I'm Professor Pelican, and I want you to be smart at real estate. Call Professor Pelican.com. Call 866 Pelican.
Paul, we're honored to have you here today. I feel like we're becoming friends. You've been a great advisor as Professor Pelican has been starting its launch and starting to take flight. And so we've had so many amazing conversations just about business plans, looking at acquiring financing. We're a what would we be considered a veteran-owned small business? Definitely a small business right now, although we're working on getting lots of business in the future. And you've given us a lot of great information and have been helping us kind of guide our trajectory. And so that's been great, and it's just an honor to have you here. I also know a little bit about you, that you're a University of South Carolina Honors College grad. You've been in the banking industry, and you come to us with a wealth of knowledge in the Low Country about business, about finance, and about small businesses. And we really just want to hear more about you, more about how you got into this, and more about the people that you help in the community. And yeah, and we'll just kind of see where the conversation takes us and go from there. So I'm glad we can hear each other today. So
Perfect. Well, thank you, and thank you so much for that kind introduction. And it's my honor to be here. And it's been great to work with you. I look forward to seeing where this business goes, I look forward to what the future holds on this. So, I am Paul Featheringill. I'm with the South Carolina Small Business Development Center. And so, just to kind of give you a little bit of background and information, number one, about how I got into this. And you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but primarily is in small business finance.
I'm losing the
And
audio just a little bit on my end. It came in and out. I'm not sure if it was the distance from the microphone, if which one makes
okay,
that's right
is
there.
that better?
I hear that perfectly.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. That's great.
I come to this primarily with a background in small business lending. Most recently, before I came here, I worked for a couple of what are called CDFIs, Community Development Finance Institutions, that really kind of specialize in helping newer, smaller businesses get started and get financing. Um, and one of the great resources that I always drew on when I was part of that was the Small Business Development Center and the technical assistance. And so, when an opportunity came up for me to come over here, I decided to take advantage of it. And it was, as you mentioned, I am a USC grad. I grew up here in Charleston. So I've lived in a few other places over the years, but I'm back home, and I'm glad to be really helping support and grow businesses here in the Charleston area. And if you'd like, I can tell you just a little bit about who we are and how we work and what we do from kind of a high level overview situation. So the Small Business Development Center, we are
Yes,
a
and again, just
statewide.
the audio again just is, it seems to some reason be creeping out there at that one angle. I can hear it. I just want to make sure everybody else, when the recording goes out, that they'll will be able to.
Sure.
This is good.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, this is good.
we are a statewide program. We're actually a nationwide organization. We've been around since 1979. There are 63 SBDCs in the United States. We offer primarily individual, one-on-one, no-cost, confidential business consulting. We can consult all types, all stages of business, from the earliest startups all the way through existing businesses that are looking at growth opportunities, looking at expansion opportunities, all sorts of things. We can help with business planning, we can help with finance, we can help with marketing, we can help with organizational structure. There's all number of different areas. In addition to that, we have some specialty services that we offer. Those primarily being manufacturing, international trade, government contracts, agribusiness, cybersecurity, and technology commercialization. So if you've developed a new product or a new technology that you're trying to patent the intellectual property and then take it to market to actually commercialize it, we can assist with that. And then in addition to that, we do training events, calendar of training events that we do throughout the year to help people. And then in addition to that, we do referral to resources. So if you're an attorney or an accountant, things like that, we can help. I've been with the SBDC now for going on 6 years. I am based out of the Charleston office. I'm the region director for the USC region, so technically I fall under USC. 7 offices and about between 15 and 20 consultants at any different period of time in the Low Country and Midlands of South Carolina that are part of the region. Statewide, we have about 20 offices and about 50 consultants. So pretty much wherever you are in the state or whatever your needs are, we've got somebody that can assist.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we're definitely going to put the contact information for the SBDC in our notes and on the website, and going to share our conversation on social media as well. So hopefully we'll get the word out there a little bit through South Carolina, and to learn more about how you can help businesses, right? So
Right.
what I love is that, so the Professor Pelican brand is we're really based about education about real estate, as well as community and caring. And so we recently did a fundraiser, raised money for Low Country Orphan Relief. We're getting ready to deliver a package to them for the holidays,
Well,
which is
great.
yeah, which is really exciting. And so I think about being a startup in the startup phase right now, and obviously the guidance that the SBDC has given and what you've given has been invaluable here so far. But for me, I always feel as an entrepreneur, I don't think about the idea of that I could look for help while while I'm currently operating. Right. Like, and so it sounds like that anywhere in the business life cycle, the SBDC can help. And so I wonder if maybe you could shed a little bit of light on that. And I apologize again. The closer to the microphone you can get, probably the better for the audience. But
Sure, sure.
if you kind of share a little bit about maybe even an example of a business that maybe needed some consulting help, like how they got referred to you, and maybe how like a challenge was overcome, because just from what I've experienced in the last how long have we been going here? 6 months so far of kind of getting things off the ground. I mean, every day is a new learning and experience, and sometimes we're faced with this, can this even work? Is it supposed to work? Right? These type of like psychological things sometimes. So anything you could touch on with that would be amazing. I think that you could share with business owners that are out there in the States that have these type of things on their mind, because every day we got to wake up and try to make something happen.
Right, right. Well, I always say to my clients, to small business owners, that the two most important assets that you have as small business owners are your time and your money. And on both of those, the thing about them is once you use them, they're gone and they're not coming back. So it's really, really important that you use those things as wisely as you can. And so I always encourage people. One of the really great things about South Carolina, and about other states as well, but particularly for South Carolina, is this entrepreneurial ecosystem that we have here and all of the different resources that are available. There's, of course, us, and I highly recommend that you find your local SBDC office and get connected with us. But there's other organizations and support groups that we can refer you to as well. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that. Take advantage of as many things that are no cost as you possibly can, because that'll be a great benefit to your business. But what's really important, because it is, when you get started, typically when you're getting started in business, you have an idea, right? You have something that you want to do. It's a passion that you have. It's something that you're good at. It's something you've discovered, and you want to take it to the marketplace. You want to share it with others. But the thing about that is, no matter what type of business you're in, whether you're in real estate, whether you're a restaurant, whether you are a medical practice, whatever you are, You get into those businesses because you're good at and you have a passion for those things. But there's all these other things that come along with being a business owner that you have to do. And there's a process that you have to go through and steps that you have to go through to really be able to do it successfully. And that's where we can really help, is to help you sort of sit down and prioritize those things and say, okay, what are the things that I need to do, and what's the order of things that we need to do this in? I have businesses that come to me all the time that say, I found a perfect location, I signed a lease, I don't know what to do now. Well, let's take about 3 steps back, because what we can help you do then is help you put the business plan together for how the business is going to work, which is crucial for you to understand what all the different aspects of the business are. And the other thing that helps you do is it helps you to understand how much financing you actually need to do this business. And then once you figure that out, and we can help you figure that out, then we can help you find some of those financial resources that are crucial, that are going to be crucial for you to be able to move forward and do this successfully. Because the other thing that happens a lot of times is that businesses will start without having enough capital to really grow and be successful. And so they run out of money really early in the process, and then it's very difficult for them to take the next step. So we can help them figure out how much capital they need, what are some resources that they can get it, and how to move forward from there. Well, then the next thing is, because, and people get mad at me when I say this, but I think it's really true, is that, if you don't have customers, you're not really in business. You can have, you can have a business license, you can have a fancy building, you can have all these things, but if you don't have customers that are actually, buying your goods or services, you don't actually have a business yet. And so it's crucial for you to figure out, number one, who is my customer? Who are my ideal customers? What do they look like? Where can I find them? What characteristics do they have? And then how do I put together a plan to actually go where they are and actually be able to find them? And that's something else that we can help you do. And not to get sidetracked on this, but another place where I see businesses get things awfully twisted, especially early on, is on the marketing side, because you throw all this money into doing different marketing things, but you don't actually take the time to stop and assess and say, are these actually working? Am I actually hitting my target market? Do I even know who my target market is? And are these channels actually working? Everybody says, well, I'm going to do social media marketing because it's free. Well, that's great, but you still have to do some drilling down and do some work to figure out who your primary customers are, and then where you find them and how you find them, and we can help you do that. And then you got to make sure that you're organizationally set up properly. We see a lot of people that have issues. Do you have some kind of corporate structure? Do you have the right business license and permits and different things like that? Do you have the right insurance policies to really be able to protect yourself? Is your intellectual property protected? I'm looking at that great logo that you've developed, that you've got behind you now, things like that. Every business has some kind of intellectual property like that you need to make sure that you protect it. We can help you do that. Do you have things like policies and procedures for cybersecurity and HR and different things like that? We can help you make sure that you have those in mind. Those are all steps that you have to go through. And the thing about it is, if you forget any of them, it's going to really harm your business. If you try to think about it all at once, it's going to be overwhelming. But we can sit down with you and we can help you walk through the process and make sure that you know how to get all those things.
That is wow, what a great nugget of conversation here about that. I mean, if you just saw me, I'm just nodding the entire time.
Yeah.
Right. So, I come from a background of teaching, right? Teaching business,
Right.
doing some research. And this is like really one of the biggest applications of, some of the marketing that I've taught students. And so I'm almost compelled to kind of write a story about this, about moving through the business process. And, from my personal take from comparing what I've studied and taught versus how I was in, and you're absolutely right, Paul. There is the fact that you exist out there, that your organization exists, is is such a huge advantage to potential business owners, to current business owners, because what I've noticed is just being out in the marketplace is that if you don't have a plan, that you're going to fall you're going to be a part of somebody else's plan, right?
That's right. That's right.
Ultimately, eventually, and so. Um, and that really that comes down to it's like, okay, well, where's the money going, right? Like how is it being spent? And it's funny, vendors, as much as they can help, um, they they're in business too, and
That's
so
right.
and
That's right.
and, and it's everybody wants to spend your money like it's their money,
That's that's exactly
right?
right.
And that's fascinating. It's sometimes, if you come from an academic background, and you deal with percentages in theory,
That's
you start to look at it, in real dollars and cents, and you're like, wow, this is I have to manage this risk, right? And that's really like what the game is, especially in the beginning, but honestly through it, if because we've got cycles and all that. And so the fact that there's a resource like you out there, because there's plenty of firms that will tell you that they can help you bring your business to the next level, that
right.
you can do this, that I mean, and they will take your money left and right
Yes, they will.
to not necessarily give you the results that you were expecting,
Yes,
right?
that's exactly right.
Yeah, and so it's an important consideration, especially early on. But
Mhm.
the sooner a business owner, I think, can come to grips with that and turn to a resource, maybe they're afraid that maybe they feel like they're turning to the government for help. I mean, that's not necessarily really the case here, right? They're turning to a
No,
resource that's available to them.
that's right.
And so how do they reach out? Like, what's the we connected through I think through my veterans organization.
That's right.
What would some and this is like your organization is open to anybody in South Carolina, any
We
business owner?
are.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we are.
it,
Um,
I want to be able to put this out there. How can they reach out to you?
Sure. And I'll take one step back and I'll tell you too, because a lot of times when you say that you offer a resource at no cost, a lot of people say, well, how much value is there in that? So I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and kind of how we get to where we are. So we are a resource partner of the SBA. We have a national organization and we are accredited by that national organization. And I say that to say, so we are accredited and evaluated and measured on the things that we do and the outcomes that we have and the way we do them. So you can trust that the direction that you're getting from us is valid information. The other thing I want to tell you about is that everybody who works in our organization either currently is or has been a small business owner themselves in the past, or they are, like in my case, I was a small business lender. We have people who specialize in small business marketing. Everybody who comes to this organization has background and experience in small business. And so I say that to say we've been where you are. Okay. And so we know from our own experience exactly the kinds of things that you're going through. And we can say, well, boy, I really wish I would have done that, or I wouldn't have done that, or I should have thought about that. And so those are the kinds of guidance that we can bring to the table. Now, as far as how you connect with us, we have a website, scsbdc.com. You can go on there and sign up. You will be directed then to a business consultant based on your location, based on your type of business, based on the need that you have. And generally, we can meet with people phone, virtual, in person, however you prefer to do it. We can come to you or you us. So there's a wide range of possibilities there for meeting. But the primary way that people get connected with us, honestly, is either through another resource. A banker will send them another
Mm,
organization that's familiar with us will send them. They'll find us on the web, or they'll see me or somebody else on our team out at an event somewhere, or they'll hear me doing something like this and get connected with us that way. But yeah, if you just sign up to request counseling on our website, we will get you connected. And you can also share my contact information my email address and my phone number, and you can reach out to me that way, and we'll get you.
That's awesome. That's really great. That's really great. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna have that on the site and on the recording when we get it up, hopefully on YouTube and everything. So wow, this is just great. It's amazing to know that there's a resource out there. It's humbling, I think, to business owners, right? To think it feels like you're turning for help, but as a professor, like I gotta say, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right,
Like I mean, raise your hand, ask a question,
right, right. I,
and get the resources that are needed to help become a profitable, good, steward in the community. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's because it's out there for you.
that's right. That's right. And as I said, nobody gets into business because you want to look at cash flow statements, or have to deal with your taxes, or any of that. That's not why you get into business. But you have to do all that stuff and understand all that stuff as part of your business to do it successfully. And that's where we can help, and where other resources can really help you do that. Understanding the finances of your business. Again, I come from a small business finance background, so I'm a little biased in this direction. Understanding the finances of your business is one of the most crucial things that you're going to do. And, for example, I use this example all the time. I've many times gotten what I've called the shoebox of hope, where somebody will bring me a box full of receipts and papers and things that they've written down and said, "Am I making any money? I don't know." And so I'll take it home, and I'll sit down, and I'll make piles of paper on my kitchen table, and I'll put a financial statement together for somebody. And the reality is, most of the time, you're not making money if you're in that state. But what we
Right.
can help you do is set up the systems, get the systems and processes in place. And it doesn't have to be anything expensive or anything elaborate. We can help you get that in place so that you can track your business financials, and not only track them, but even if you get a bookkeeper or a CPA or somebody to help you track them, all they're going to do is track your numbers for you. You still have to understand what they say. You still have to be able to look at those financial statements and say, okay, I'm doing well on this, I'm in trouble on this, I should adjust this. And those are the kinds of things that we can.
Exactly. Wow. There's a lot covered in this conversation. It's almost like a mini MBA conversation that we're having.
Sure.
So pretty good stuff. You know, I definitely encourage anybody to reach out. That's exploring and expanding their business, starting their business, possibly looking for exit strategies. Would that be an area that you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we've started doing more of that recently. That really came, started emerging as a result of COVID, and a lot of the things that we dealt with under that, where people were starting to look at succession planning and business exit options. And so that certainly is something we can help with. We actually have established what we're calling, and it's got a fancier name to it, but it's essentially a statewide growth program. And what we're doing in that case is we're really working with businesses who are looking to grow to a point of a viable exit. And whether that be selling it to somebody else, whether that be leaving it to a family member to carry on, whatever that might be, but really helping you to position your business to maximize its value and maximize its performance to be able to do that. Because a lot of people don't think about that, and then they say, well, okay, I'm ready to retire. I want to go sit on the beach and sip margaritas, and I want to do it in 6 months, right? But see, the thing about that is, and then they go to sell the business, and they come to somebody like me, and I say, well, your business is only worth about $50,000, and they look at me like I'm crazy. But it's like, these are the things you have to do, and if we do these things over the next 6 to 12 months, you can make it $1 million business and better
Wow.
position it to sell. And so those are the kinds of things that we're working to help businesses understand, kind of where they are versus where they can be, with just a few little tweaks, to really make their business something that, if they decide they want to sell it, they can get a lot out of it, or they can leave it in the best shape possible to their family, or whatever they want to do next. Because it really isn't A lot of people are nervous about talking about that because they think that that means we're saying your business is going to fail. We're not saying that at all. What I'm saying is you're an entrepreneur. Eventually, you're going to want to go start another business. You're going to want to retire. You're going to want to do something else. So how do I maximize the value of what I'm building right now to really be able to get back out not only what I put into it, but even more so than that? And another question we help them answer and understand and position themselves for is, can your business run for a week without you being there?
Mm,
Okay. So
yeah.
in other words, could you go off for a week to, Europe,
Uh,
whatever, and
yeah.
could your business operate for a week without you in it? And if the answer to that is yes, then that's great. Then you've done it the way you're supposed to do to position that business where it's supposed to be. If the answer is no, if it can't yet, then we can help you position it to where you do get to that.
That's amazing. That is such an important question to ask, and to answer honestly,
Yeah.
because I could say, oh yeah, I could go for a week and it's fine, and maybe like I won't go bankrupt in that week, or right, maybe, but like what's really happening
Right.
when
That's
you're
right.
gone, right?
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, are your
absolutely right.
clients being treated the way they're supposed to be treated,
That's
right?
right.
Are your employees showing up the way that you expected them to show up, right? I mean,
Yeah.
can you honestly say it, right, as a
Right.
business owner? And
Right.
such an important question to ask. Such
And the other aspect, if I could add one thing to that, is the other part of it is we always tell people it's really important for you as a business owner to be able to, from time to time, take time out of your business so that you can work on your business. Okay. Because what happens is you get really caught up in the day to day, right? How do I make sure that, all of my orders are being fulfilled, all my customers are being served, I'm collecting all my money, the staff is showing up, we're getting our orders done. But you want to get yourself to the point where every once in a while, maybe once a quarter, maybe twice a year, maybe once a year, even, you can take a step back and say, okay, let me sit down and do some strategic planning for how I want this business to grow over the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And by the way, we can help you with that too. But you got to take some time out of your business to be able to do that and to be able to start having some of those higher level, longer term strategic thoughts so that you're not just, how do I keep this successfully running from day to day, but how do I think about expansion? How do I think about growth? How do I think about succession? Where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? You got to take some time as a business owner away from your business to work with us or work with somebody else to really be able to think through that process. But to do that, you have to get your business to the point where it can operate without you for a short period of time so that you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so that's amazing. This conversation alone is, I can't wait to have more conversations with you about my
Absolutely.
businesses. So that's
Yeah, absolutely.
so that's really exciting. I guess I it, so happy to have you here. I guess one thing that as we kind of wrap up the conversation a little bit here, I hope we could have more down the line too.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
How are things looking? I know out there in the economy these days. I like to put this out there as an educational bit, but also to get some opinions. You don't have to share your opinion if you don't want to.
Sure. Sure.
I know we recently came off of a government shutdown,
Yeah.
and I know there's probably still a lot of components there, probably a lot of emotions out there in the
Sure.
marketplace, and I'm seeing different things. We're heading into a holiday season. Some lines are long at some places, others are not long at others. What are you guys seeing out there?
Also, in general, I would say that demand is still pretty strong in terms of customer demand and that sort of thing. What's becoming more and more of a challenge for a lot of small businesses is access to capital, because there's so much uncertainty in the environment right now, with interest rates still even a few years later, with impact of tariffs, just general economic conditions. There's so much uncertainty that a lot of lenders are really tightening. And so, for one thing, I would say as a business, one of the things you want to do is, as soon as you can and as much as you can, you want to position yourself with things like lines of credit and things like that to really be able to sort of withstand the ups and downs that you're going to have. But that access to capital is becoming really important, really kind of a challenge, and costs are going up. Around here, especially, you're in the real estate business. You know what real estate rents for around here, and sells for, and that sort of thing. So, I mean, supply costs, occupancy costs, all of these things are getting higher and higher with businesses. So they're having to figure out how to operate more efficiently. They're having to figure out how to do more with less, for lack of a better way to put that. And one of the things that I think is helping that or aiding that or could, and one of the things that we're focusing on really starting to help businesses with is how do I implement AI and some of these other technologies and tools into what I'm doing so that my business can operate more effectively and efficiently? Because what businesses are finding is if we don't do it, somebody else is going to, and we're going to get left behind. Okay. So that's part of it. More and more businesses are having to look into e-commerce if they're not already. But the other part of this, and I know that it sounds counterintuitive and it sounds somewhat contradictory, but every survey I look at, everything I look at with customers and business owners is saying, we want e-commerce, we want that ease of being able to shop, but the customer experience is still really, really important to them. Okay, so there's got to be something there where we feel like there's a decent customer experience. Now, how do you balance that? Those are the tricky waters that businesses are having to navigate right now.
Yes.
That we can try to help them with. But so it's on the one hand, I would say, just to kind of sum it up, it's a really strong environment from like a customer demand perspective, and people are still spending money and all those things are happening. But there's these challenges out there, like how do I get capital? How do I integrate AI? How do I integrate e-commerce? How do I still maintain that level of customer experience? There's some really tricky things that businesses are having to navigate. And at the end of the day, if you're a small business, you got to make sure that you're still bringing people to you and not just to Amazon. So there's a lot of different things that you got to navigate.
There sure is.
Does that
Wow.
answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
And to put like to say like, oh, the economy's great or the economy's bad, it's I think things changed ever since the iPhone came out, right? It
Yeah.
was the time that there was an economic, catastrophe going on and people were still lining up to buy the new iPhone, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
and we're kind of still seeing that. And then I'm also reminded of the Warren Buffett quotes about, when the tides roll out, we'll find out who's got their bathing suit on, right?
That's right.
Like
That's
that
right.
type of thing.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so there's tones in your conversation that like that, yeah, that there are concerns out there with the economy. There
Yeah.
is there, but yet at the same time, you go out and it looks like things are booming too.
Yeah.
Stock markets are, near
Yeah.
all-time highs.
That's right.
There's still a lot of activity. I'm seeing a lot of shopping going on. Golly, I mean, with the holidays, they had stuff out like a month early, like about
Right.
a month
Right.
earlier than
Right.
normal. So there's commerce, there's things happening out there. Um, you got to have your bathing suit on, is really,
Yeah. Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
comes down to.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, it definitely sounds like I just know from personal experience that the SBDC can help make sure that you're well suited up for the tides that are out there. And
Absolutely.
so yeah, you did answer the question, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more down the line. And again, we'll put the contact info on this. So for businesses that listen and hear and are ready to reach out and have questions, they'll have you as a resource out there, and I'm
Great.
so happy to have it
Great.
too. So good. Paul, any closing remarks that you wanted to say before we head out into golly, a new year in less than a month?
Absolutely. Just thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to get to do this and to get to work with you, as I said, and I look forward to where we're going with that. But just, we're here as a resource. So I know, a lot of times the new year, people get into January and one of their New Year's resolutions is I either want to start a business or, gee, I really want to do a better job with my business. I want to figure out ways to increase my revenue, to operate more efficiently, all of those things. So just remember we're here. by all means, come look us up. We'll get you connected with somebody, and we can really help you kind of strategize and figure out, if I'm not in business yet, how do I do that? If I am in business, what do I do to really take the next step with this and make it that much?
Amazing. Well, good. Well, Paul, thanks so much
Thank
again for
you.
the conversation today. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again in the future, and hopefully,
Yep.
who knows, maybe we can get some guests one of these days. But yeah, and I wish you just a wonderful holiday season with your family and friends, and I'm looking forward to a fun and prosperous 2026 together with you and with the Low Country and the whole world. So it's gonna be great.
Thank you, sir. Same to you. Happy holidays to you and your family, and I look forward to working with you.
Amazing. Appreciate it. Thanks, Paul. And
Thank
we'll
you.
talk soon. Okay.
All
Yep.
right,
All
sounds
right.
good.
All right. Bye.
Hi, I'm Professor Pelican, and I want you to be smart at real estate. Call Professor Pelican.com. Call 866-99-Pelican.